Buonasera, welcome back to our Italian sessions. On this channel, as many of you know, probably everyone, there is a playlist which is for beginners and which is a course for beginners which starts from lesson 1 and we are about lesson 20, maybe 25. So if you have just started studying language, please do start from that, from lesson 1, and then follow the order of the lessons because it makes more sense like this. It gets gradually a little bit more complex and there is more and more progress. And then on the same channel, we have a lot of videos which cover different topics and also for different levels, mainly intermediate and advanced, but not only. Some of the videos are also for beginners with a certain knowledge. And I have invited you before to ask, so make a request if you need and want to know a bit more about a specific topic that I have covered, also topics that I haven't covered yet. So today we're going to cover, or I'm going to cover, or to answer a question or a request, which is not something that can be answered to in a comment. So it's not just a short reply. Today we are going to talk about some expressions which are very, very useful because we use them so many times during the day. We're going to talk about how do we say in Italian someone, something, somewhere, anywhere, and everyone, everything, etc. So I have selected some of these words. Obviously, there are so many, and remember they can be used in different ways according to context. So obviously, I have to limit the examples that I show you. And then you can learn, you can start learning, and then gradually you can widen your knowledge and add more vocabulary. Um, so let's start from first with our page where I have written a few examples. There we are. Right, so starting from, as I said, something, someone, somewhere. And as I said, and I will repeat it more than once because this needs to be clear. I put these words in specific sentences to have an example of how we can use them. So generally, this is the context. However, like you do, or in fact, like it is done in English, these words, like many other types of words, can be used differently, and sometimes they belong maybe to a specific expression. So obviously do learn, look at the context, and if you want to use them, obviously, if you want to use them in a sentence which is similar or just the same as the examples I've given you here, go ahead and borrow these ones. Otherwise, I would always double check in the dictionary and also, it is not cheating really using those online dictionaries or translating websites like Reverso, which I do use, and also Words Reference, which give you, both of them give you a word in a different context. So you can double check if you got it right. And also, especially in English, these words, and we'll see it a little bit later, you can use one or another to say exactly the same thing, or or the opposite, one word instead can mean different things. But let's see the examples, and it will make a little bit more sense if I maybe actually didn't make sense what I've just said. Let's see the examples. So we have something. The main meaning of something, the first meaning of something would be qualcosa. So we're talking about an object, an inanimate object. And then we have someone or somebody in English, which is translated with qualcuno. In this case, in general, again, or most of the time, we're talking about a person, so a living being. And then we have somewhere, when we're talking about places, in Italian would be da qualche parte. Again, these are the main meanings. The first meaning or the first translation that you would find, however, it is not, or they are not, the only ones. So let's see the example. So I've written a sentence with each of these words. So the first one with qualcosa, preparo qualcosa da mangiare. I prepare something to eat, or I'll cook some food, I'll make some food. In fact, I've chosen also this sentence, these words in particular, because da mangiare, which is a very colloquial word or expressions, which translate food in English, which is used in an everyday language. Da mangiare, as I said, is colloquial, so in a very informal, used in everyday language. Otherwise, let's say the more formal, or what you see more written, or in a more official context, you would use cibo. Otherwise, as I said, I don't think I've never heard anyone. It doesn't mean there isn't anyone when they want to cook some food or buy some food or prepare food, they use the word cibo. We say, as I said, normally everyday context and everyday situations with da mangiare. So, preparo qualcosa da mangiare. I prepare something to eat, literally. And then a sentence with qualcuno, someone. C'è qualcuno alla porta. There is someone at the door. And then a word with somewhere, da qualche parte. Ho lasciato il telefonino da qualche parte. I left the mobile phone, somewhere. So telefonino is a mobile phone. Another word for it is cellulare, cellular phone. So this is quite straightforward. As I said, we can really talk about main meaning, which would work in most of the context. So you can be quite safe when you're using these first three translations we have. And then we have here, we have everything, everyone, everywhere. This is a little bit more interesting because, in fact, the first two words in English, everything and everyone, can be translated with the same word. You can say everything, or you can say all, or you can say everyone, or all. So both words can be translated with one word. However, you have to think, especially if you're using the word all in English and you want to translate it in Italian, all has two different translations, depending, are you talking about everything or everyone? So if you're talking about everything, the word in Italian is tutto. And if you're talking about everyone, in Italian is tutti. So tutto singular, instead tutti plural. In a specific context, with a specific, with a feminine gender, I'm talking about grammar, you can, or these words can become feminine. They can become tutta and tutte. However, as I said, specific. So when we are referring to a specific something or someone which are feminine. Otherwise, the default, or in most expressions, will have the masculine. So as I said, be careful if you're thinking, especially when you're thinking from English into Italian, and you're thinking all, remember which all are you talking about? Especially if you've never heard the word and you go in the dictionary, you look for all, but do you need tutto or do you need tutti? Remember. And then we have everywhere, which is dappertutto. As you can see, you actually have like three words combined in one only, which is, you can see, in fact, the word tutto, which is everything. So let's see some examples with these three words. An example with tutto è tutto a posto. Everything is okay. Everything is well. Everything is in place, literally. So a posto can be translated with in place, literally, or otherwise, really, it does mean that everything is okay. Everything is sorted as well, tutto a posto. A sentence with tutti. Sono tutti qui. Everybody or everyone is here. Or if you want to use the word all, they are all here. And in fact, in the previous sentence, all is well. È tutto a posto, say. And then we have dappertutto, everywhere. A sentence with it is ho cercato dappertutto. I looked everywhere. So these ones as well, these words are quite straightforward, and in most contexts where you need them will be, you can safely use these words that I'm suggesting. And it's getting worse and worse. So next one, next words, we're going into the negative now. We had everything, which was the positive. The something is some of a certain quantity. And now we have nothing. So nothing is niente, no one or nobody is nessuno, nowhere, da nessuna parte. Parte is like an area, a part, an area of somewhere, of a place. Right, so here let's see the examples. And first of all, remember this, especially niente and nessuno are negative, are used for negative sentences. So in Italian, unless there are specific construction, but otherwise you will see them with what looks like a double negative in English. In Italian is not a double negative, it's just a negative, how we construct a negative sentence. So let's see the examples. Non c'è niente, there is nothing, or there isn't anything, however you want to translate it. Non ho visto nessuno. I didn't see anyone, or I saw no one. Again, you have a choice in English, which will be very useful later. We'll come back, in fact, to these translations in a little bit. And then non siamo andati da nessuna parte. We didn't go anywhere, or we went nowhere. So first of all, and before I forget, I have recently posted a video. I think it is in the playlist of Italian for Beginners, but anyone can have a look at it. So yes, don't just even if you're not a beginner, don't just follow the other videos in the channel. You can always look at the titles in the playlist and see if there is something that you maybe confident with or you want to revise. So as I said, I have recently posted a video about the negatives. how to construct a negative sentence. So this could be that video could be useful. There will be some similar sentences plus some other words. So here, as I said, and we'll see it now as it's getting like more and more complex. I have given you two different options in English with nothing, with niente. In fact, with the translation of these three sentences, with the first one, non c'è niente, you can say there is nothing or there isn't anything. So you have two words. Nothing is completely nothing at all, which is niente. However, and we'll see it in a little bit. In fact, we are about to get there. If you instead construct in English the sentence, there isn't anything, then you have to be careful because anything and nothing can be translated in very different ways. So nothing will be translated with niente, but anything can be translated with niente with the correct construction, with a negative. In this case, isn't, there isn't anything. Otherwise, in a different context, anything means something else. And now let's get to the last group of words, which is where everything becomes a little bit more complex. In fact, I did want to, if I see this in my list of topics to cover, the word any with whatever you can add to it. I haven't done it yet because it's a lot of work, because it can be quite complex, because in fact, go in any dictionary, paper, online, and look for just the word any, and you'll have pages, especially if it's a paper dictionary, one of those gigantic, nice, gigantic, heavy ones. Yeah, you'll find pages of examples. In fact, as we have just seen, anything, if it's together with a negative in English, then it means nothing. However, let's see this first, and then let's see the however. So anything in this case, which obviously I'm not repeating the examples for the negative sentences that we've just seen. I'm using anything, anyone, anywhere in a different way, in a different context, so with a different translation. So anything with the meaning of whatever, which can be translated with qualsiasi cosa. Anyone with the meaning of whoever, which can be translated with chiunque, or if you want another choice, another option, qualsiasi persona. Chiunque, just one word. Anywhere with the meaning of wherever, which can be translated with dovunque, or if you want a little bit more colloquial expression, is da qualsiasi parte. So as we've seen here, the same words that we used earlier in a negative sentence, we are using them now in English. Remember, the same words in English, or English words that we used earlier in a negative sentence. We are using them now with a completely different meaning. So the translation in Italian is different, obviously. The context is different also. Let's see the examples first, the examples that we have here. And also what adds to the complexity in this context, these words in Italian are followed by subjunctive because it requires a certain construction. And if you need a little revision or subjunctive, or if you have never covered it. I have on this channel, I have 3 separate videos because it's so well, there are different tenses for the subjunctive, and so there are quite a few examples. So do go and watch them all from part 1, part 2, and part 3 in this order, obviously. So let's see these examples. With qualsiasi cosa, gli dà qualsiasi cosa loro vogliano. So he or she gives them anything or whatever they want. So we have the subjunctive here, vogliano. So I've translated with anything or whatever they want. The second example, chiunque. Chiunque arrivi in ritardo perderà il treno. Whoever or anyone who arrives late will miss the train. Remember that perdere is the same, we use it with 2 different meaning. You can lose an object or lose the train or miss the train, really. And then the last example, dovunque tu vada troverai nuovi amici. Wherever or anywhere you go, you will find new friends. So we had the subjunctive here and subjunctive here as well. Just a little note. So as I was saying before, so the first group of, let's just go quickly at the top. The first group of words are quite straightforward. As I said, it's quite safe to use these words whenever you want to use something, you want to say something, someone, somewhere. The second group of words is also quite safe whenever you want to use everything, everyone, everywhere. As I said before, you have to be really careful. You have to be more careful when you're using this. If you're using, so when you're thinking, niente is nothing. So when you make your sentence in English using nothing, then you're sure that it will be niente. No one or nobody will be nessuno, nowhere, da nessuna parte. Remember, you also need a non when you're using these words. So non-verb and the negative word. We've seen that in English you can have 2 different options. You can write the same sentence with 2 different options. So these are the ones where you need to be very careful. Wherever there is any, you have to be super careful. In fact, let me give you an example in English. Well, some examples in English. Why is it can be tricky? If I say I don't want anything, it means I want nothing. So we've got 0. If I say I'll give you anything you want, it means I'm giving you everything. So in this case, anything means everything. In the first case, anything meant nothing. And then another example, is there anything you want? In this case, anything means something. That is why anything or any words with any, so anyone, anywhere, you have to be careful when you're using it. What are you saying in English? Are you using it in the affirmative, in the negative? Are you asking a question? Does it mean nothing? Does it mean everything? Does it mean something? I'll repeat these sentences that I know that you can actually replay and re-listen the video, but I'll say it again. I don't want anything means I want nothing. I'll give you anything you want, it means everything. Is there anything you want means something. So be careful every time you're using any words starting with any. Doesn't mean everything, doesn't mean nothing, doesn't mean something. Same thing with doesn't mean everyone, no one, someone. Yes, something to think about. So very often, as you know very well now, even the easiest, in fact, this what looks like the easiest or simplest thing, and especially all those words that we use a lot, very often, it can be the most complicated ones, or the ones that we need to be a little bit more careful with, which is exactly these words, as I said, especially the very last group. As I said at the beginning, I will make another video which will talk about any and all its friends and associates. I'll try and cover as many examples as possible, but there is just a little taster. So I'm sure, not only I hope, but I am sure that this will be a very useful video for everyone, for or any level. Any in this case means every level. And so we have to thank the request that we had from a regular subscriber. And so let me remind you again, do leave comments, ask questions. If it's a very short answer, I will answer in the comments. If it's a little bit longer, and especially if the answer would benefit anyone, meaning everyone, or someone, in fact, then I will make a video, especially if it's a topic that I haven't covered yet. And so I'll also remind you to subscribe and like the videos when you watch them. Actually, I've noticed that even people who have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they still complain about the difference between the people who watch the videos and those who like the videos. And of course, it could mean that if somebody watches and I don't like it, I will not click on like. Of course, it could be that, but sometimes we can also forget. Anyway, subscribing is free. And liking, obviously, if you don't like it, then you don't have to click on like, although it'd be nice if you do. And I said, any comments are welcome, and any suggestion or request is also welcome. So I will see you on our next video, which may not be any yet. There will be some other things before the any video. And so I hope you've enjoyed this and you found it useful. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Ciao.